Procrastination, it's hesitation when I tell everyone I'm gonna do something. Procrastination, it's masturbation and doing everything except what I should be. Oh yeah! Welcome to the 15th episode of Mime Time. For today's episode, we're going to talk about procrastination. I'm super excited to tell you about how I like to procrastinate and why I think I do it and steps I do to overcome my procrastination so I can actually get stuff done, So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, I should go to the gym and lift weights. Yeah, it's chest and tri day. I need to work out. And then when I come back, I will take a shower and then I will do some cleaning. Yeah, it's getting dusty around this place. It needs some cleaning. And yeah, I think I'll play on my PlayStation for 1 or 5 hours straight. It's been a while and I've been putting off that Final Fantasy VII remake. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's about time that I get around to doing it. So anyways, I guess I'll talk to you later. Bye. You know what time it is? It's game time. Huh? Wait a second. Why is the music fading out? I'm not ready yet. We gotta give me another hour, okay? I'm almost done with this level. I said I'll talk to you later. Wait a second. You're still here? Shit. All right. I guess there's no more putting off. I have to talk about procrastination now. But first, let me check the stats for this podcast on Buzzsprout. As of Thursday, June 11, 2020, I am at 1,007 downloads. I did it, guys. I hit over 1,000 downloads. Woohoo! Or should I say you did it. Thank you, listeners, for listening to my episodes and subscribing to Mime Time ASMR. Oh yeah. I can't believe I hit this milestone. It's like a big day, actually. It hasn't even quite sank in yet, but this is really important as a milestone for me. I just want to be frank with you and say that there's always this struggle between two voices in my head. Like 60 downloads this episode. This episode only got 60 downloads. That ain't shit. You should at least be at 600 downloads per episode by now, you lazy, sloppy fool. Mime time. Mime time, more like lazy time. More like, what are you doing with all this time? More like, why aren't you Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Joe Rogan levels of success and reach and fulfillment yet? Time. You should have hit 1,000 downloads in your first couple of weeks of launching this podcast, you fool. You bum, mime. You're never going to amount to everything. You're never going to make it, man. You're never going to do it. You want to be the Asian, Korean American, Brian Rose, London Real, huh? You're never going to make a meaningful impact. What are you doing? You're just wasting your time. No one cares. No one cares about Mime Time. You don't have any value to offer the world. You're not enough. Nobody cares, Mime. Why would anyone listen to 15 episodes of this bullshit? And then there's this other voice that says, wow, 60 downloads on average per episode? That's awesome. That means 60 people downloaded, and maybe even some of them even listened to an episode all the way to the end. And of all the listeners, even if it's just 10 people listening to my voice, listening to my guests, that walk away feeling better about life with a different perspective, with new ideas in their head, if they change their lives for the better in any meaningful way, then it's a worthwhile endeavor. And if I can do 10 downloads an episode, and downloads are people, then that means I can do 10 people, do 20 people. If I can do 20 people, I can do 50 people. If I can do 50 downloads, I can do 100. If I can do 100, I can do 1,000, and I've reached 1,000. If I could do 1,000, I can reach 2,000. And if I can hit 2,000 downloads, then I hit 5K, 10K, and then the sky's the limit. I may not always sound like I believe that. You can maybe hear it in my voice, like the incongruency, like me like really, like me changing the world, reaching to millions of people, me, getting $100 million. Well, whatever. How can I know unless I try, right? And give it my honest effort. This is a marathon. I'm in this for the long haul. I made a promise. I'm giving you my word. I made a promise to do this, to give you my all and to become the best version of myself and to become better every single day. So that's what I'm doing and I'm loving it. It's been so rewarding already that one of you actually came to me, my first fan story. This happened at the end of April when a friend of mine that I've known for a couple of years came up to me and say, "Hey man, it's been a while and I just want to let you know that I listened to your podcast. I've been going through a slump and I just broke up with my girlfriend and listening to your podcast really helped me out. I feel like when I listen to your podcast, it's talking about me. And I've been telling other people about your podcast as well. I've been saying, look, here's mine. This is the podcast guy. This is the guy that I was telling you about. This is what my friend said to his friends. And I was really touched. If you're listening to this, you know who you are. And I just want to say, bro, I really appreciate it, man. I got my first literal raving fan. That is just as important as a milestone as reaching 1,000 downloads. I'm so happy to share with you that I've reached these two milestones, my first raving fan and my first 1,000 downloads. This is why I started Mime Time. This is why I started this podcast. And with that, I'm going to stop. Thank you, everyone. This is the last episode of Mime Time. Message me if you're interested in buying my recording microphones, my gear, as I'm moving back to America soon to live in my mom's basement and just play video games for the rest of my life. Just fapping all day, fapping my life away, because you know what? Final Fantasy VII Remake isn't going to play itself. Thanks for listening all the way to the very last episode of Mime Time. More like no more time, because I've hit my ultimate dream of having one true raving fan and 1,000 downloads. So, yep, that's it. Thank you for listening. Take care, everybody. Have a great life. So long, and thanks for all the sheep. Oh, yeah. Do you procrastinate? How do you procrastinate? Why do you procrastinate? Maybe you're procrastinating right now, listening to this guy who says stupid stuff like, oh, yeah. But that's okay. We all procrastinate. We all do it. Speaking broadly, of course, there are people who clearly don't procrastinate, or should I say, they procrastinate to some degree, but they get the stuff that's meaningful to them done. So for 2020, I definitely want to procrastinate less and less and less and spend more of my time, attention, and focus doing the things, the little steps day in and day out that contribute to my long-term goals and success. A few years ago, I listened to this episode of the Free Domain Radio, episode number 966, called Putting Off Procrastination. It's by Stefan Molyneux, and full disclaimer, I don't necessarily agree with all his political views and whatever, but I thought that episode was really key and it hit the nail on the head, I think, on why a bunch of us procrastinate. This episode is me rehashing some of his ideas and also adding my own layer on top. The basic idea of why we procrastinate, according to Molyneux, is that we are raised as slaves when we're kids. Okay, our parents are our masters and we're slaves as kids. And that means that whenever our parents make us do something, whether that's clean the room or do the homework or do this and that, then we don't want to obey them because we resist their force of will over us. We don't want to do what they say because they're being jerks. So why would you want to do what a jerk tells you to do, right? So if someone tells you to do something and they're being a jerk about it, what do? Well, you resist them. Maybe you do what they say, but you do it in a different way, or you do it in a way that's like delayed, right? So your parent tells you like, go clean your room, or don't put your backpack on the sofa. So what do? You put your backpack like on the table or right next to the sofa. It's like the parent goes, no, that's not what I meant. Your clothes are all over the floor. Go pick them up and put them away. So then instead of neatly folding your clothes and organizing them in the drawers neatly, you throw them all under the bed and sweep the dust under the rug and yada, yada, yada. so that when we grow up as adults and we're trying to do our own things, we're living on our own. Whenever we have a meaningful goal, we've always associated doing goals with, like forced labor, with our parents forcing us, making us do something. And so what happens when we have a meaningful goal or like something that we need to do as adults? Well, we shy away from it, especially if it's meaningful, because our parents for so long forced us to do things against our will, that whenever there's a goal that we need to fulfill, then we just kind of shy away from it, or we do something else like play video games or check our Instagram. You get the idea. So, what happens when we're treated as slaves for so long? Well, basically, what happens is we become prisoners of our own mind. How about that? We become prisoners of our own minds. And what's the way to set ourselves free of this prison of our own mind as we grow into adolescence, into adulthood, and mom and dad and the school system and the church and religion? Like, none of these authority figures are around to boss us or to pressure us into doing important goals that are meaning to us, that feed our soul, that are meaningful to our personal journeys, the things that we need to do, to whether it's tackling art or a business enterprise. What is it that helps us free us from the shackles of our own minds that we were installed in since we were kids? According to Molyneux, we just realized that actually I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to brush my teeth. I don't have to go to the dentist. I don't have to file my taxes. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go to work tomorrow morning. I can stay in as long as I want. Nobody is actually making me do anything. I have freedom as an adult. I have freedom as a human to live my life as I see fit. If you're listening to this with an access to an internet connection, I assume that you have some degree of freedom, unbeknownst to most of humanity, right? Most of humanity has never been able to live in this amazing time of opportunity and wealth that's in the world today. I'm using the power of the internet right now to speak to you. If you're listening to my voice through a smartphone, then literally the entire world is at your fingertips. All that knowledge, all these resources, all these opportunities for you to learn and grow as a person. And man, oh man, if you're on your journey, if you're on your own personal grind or your own personal hustle and your own struggle and you're embracing it, then all the power to you. But inevitably, if you're human and flawed and living in the 21st century like me, then you're probably going to procrastinate hard. I've procrastinated so hard just making this episode, just working on mime time. And I think the reason why it's not so simple and it's not so easy is because it's something actually meaningful to me, because this is a very important goal. I'm lucky to have found, at least for the time being, my purpose in life, right? Which is to make this podcast. So why wouldn't I put my all into it every single day up until I reach whatever desired goal I set? And I'll get more into this, but first I want to say this. A friend of mine recently told me, just focus on your purpose and happiness. If you don't, nobody will. That applies to friendships, family, business, relationships, marriages, etc. Nobody can live out my purpose for me but me. Nobody can live your own life but yourself. I can't eat for another person. I can't swallow your food for you. I can chew your food for you and feed you like a baby bird if you pay me enough money, perhaps. I can't go to the bathroom and take a shit for you. These are bodily functions that one organism simply cannot do for another organism. A dog can't eat for another dog or go use the restroom for another dog. You ever think about that? I'm sure you did. So extrapolate from this the metaphysical. If we are all experiencing our own individual journeys with our own purposes, then we cannot live another person's life for them, right? You get the idea. They have to struggle on their own. We all have to struggle on our own. No one can do those 10 push-ups for you but you. This assumes you know what your purpose is, or at least that you have the purpose of achieving some goal. Right now, this is my purpose, to do mime time. So why do I procrastinate? I'm telling you, my audience, this is my purpose for the time being. I'm doing this podcast on self-development to be the best version of myself, to share this journey with you, interview dope, amazing people, and share my experiences and thoughts. This is a joy and a glorious endeavor to undertake. This has the potential to change so many lives in meaningful ways. By producing this podcast, I can become more well-connected, successful, skillful, powerful, harder, better, faster, stronger in so many ways. I'm changing my life forever in unimaginably wonderful ways, completely vindicating and transcending the misery and darkness of my past. I feel like I'm on the cusp of greatness, of glorious self actualization, of total financial and personal freedom, independence. So, why am I putting my life on hold? Why is it so hard to consistently sit down and make progress toward the goals I need to do day in and day out? For example, this podcast, producing it, recording it, editing it. This is funny. I need to share this with you. All this time, all the hours thus far I spent on my podcast, editing in GarageBand or writing down show notes for each episode, I'm sitting down at the computer and sooner or later I stand up. I go pour myself a cup of water or coffee. I go to a restroom or I pace. What am I doing? I'm delaying the work. Every time I do that, every time I let myself break the flow of work and concentration, the image of my bright and glorious future dims. Why? Because I know I'm not putting the time in. You have to put the time in. I have to put the time in. I have to put my 10,000 hours in. I got to have solid focus and be disciplined and stay on the narrow path because that is what's going to get me to fulfilling my purpose and happiness in life. How do I procrastinate? When I was a kid in middle or high school, I played video games when I should have been doing homework. Granted, public education and homework were, ridiculous things, so I don't blame myself for not jumping at doing homework, but I knew better. These days, as an adult, this procrastination is far more sinister. It's more insidious. I'm not talking about just checking emails and social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and keeping up with multiple chat rooms. Of course, those are also big time sinks to consider. I'm talking about procrastinating through productive habits or through productive procrastination. Admittedly, this is better than not doing anything at all or just playing video games and fapping to porn all day long, but it's far more subversive. I should be working on my podcast or going to the gym, but wait, I'm reading blogs about productivity. Oh, I gotta listen to that Joe Rogan London Real episode. I'm sure it has really good content to learn from. I'm watching videos about finance or investing in stocks or crypto on YouTube. I'm having a really invigorating, engaging phone call with a good friend I haven't talked to in a long time. I delay the things I need to do with other seemingly meaningful good tasks, and that's dangerous. I'm my own worst enemy. My ego is holding me back. My ego is lying to me. I'm lying to myself. Oh, well, I can get distracted or I can just do this one thing for a little bit, but, I'll get to that tomorrow. And, I'll do it again tomorrow. Oh, yeah, I'll get around to it eventually. Okay, not today, maybe tomorrow. Okay, I'll do it next week. Is that how Genghis Khan lived? Did he just say, oh, I'll just get to conquering all of Asia tomorrow? No, he was just like, let's do it right now. Let's get it hard. Do you think Alexander the Great or Winston Churchill or Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, do you think these guys are the kind of people who would just say, oh, I'll just put it off till next week? Now, these are extreme examples. We are never probably going to be like them, okay, or even ever be at that level. That's not what's important. The context is what's important for me and what's important for you, what's achievable for us. I feel like I haven't even really gotten started. Like, I don't think I'm even at a tenth of what I'm truly capable of doing, whether that's personally, physically, spiritually, financially. In all these endeavors, there's always room for me to grow. And until I know for certain that I am fully actualized as a 21st Renaissance entrepreneur, spiritual podcaster, bro, whatever, until I get to that point, I have no excuse to stop. I should be thinking and focusing on this every moment like it's my baby because I am my own baby. Oh, baby. And I should be taking care of myself. I should be concerned of my dreams and how I'm going to realize them on a day-to-day basis. And that's why I have these daily affirmations to help me calibrate to get in that way. I tell myself, I live on the bleeding edge of life. I don't put my life on hold. I am enthusiastically making substantial progress toward my most important goals every day. I have my own mental and emotional system for getting tasks accomplished on a day-to-day basis, using a combination of positive habits, meditation, mantras or affirmations, accountability, positive and negative reinforcement. These days, I'm always looking at the calendar, carving out specific time to do the things I need to do. I do read blogs or listen to audiobooks, podcasts on productivity, and then I make sure I'm actually living these things out on a day-to-day basis. So I'm not just procrastinating. If I'm procrastinating, I just say it to myself out loud. I'm procrastinating and then work on it. I ask myself, well, why am I doing it? Oh, I'm anxious because this is something actually meaningful to me. So I should delve into it further. You may have your own system, and nothing I say here may be new to you. That's great. As long as you have a system that works for you, that's great. Whether it's learning Korean or increasing my vocabulary or learning math and basic accounting for my company or sitting down, recording and producing this podcast, I do what I got to do. You do what you got to do. You don't know what you're capable of unless you try. And we have to try. It's still worth trying. If it turns out it didn't work out as you planned, you earn the gift of knowing that you tried, but you must really try. I'm here really trying day in and day out, and I hope you know you're not alone when you try as well. I don't judge anyone for ever feeling lazy or for procrastinating. Okay, there's a part of me that does, but as a human, I understand what it's like to feel lazy or to just not to do something, even if it's something important. Even if that procrastination is at the expense of other people when you're late to some important engagement or opportunity and other people are angry and upset with you, and you feel embarrassment and shame. I've had moments like that in my life. I'm also pretty sure my parents procrastinated in attaining their US citizenship before I turned 18 because had they attained US citizenship before I turned 18, I would have automatically become a US citizen, but they didn't. So what did that mean? It meant later on I had to do it all by myself, which I'm grateful for that experience, but you know what I mean. Procrastination is a pain and it can cause it holds you back in your own life and other people's lives. Like if one way to look at the problems of humanity or your own problems, procrastination is like, for me anyways, it's like the biggest problem in my life right now. It's the biggest challenge. It's just me sitting down and focusing on what I need to do and getting it done. Like Shia LaBeouf says, just do it. Just do it. I mean, you really think about it. Why does he have to say something? Why does he have to look like a buffoon? Why does he have to behave in such a ridiculous manner? I'm not mocking him. It's hilarious, but he's right. Just do it. Why does he do that? Well, you have to have that kind of emotional reaction. You have to have something strong, kind of shake you by the shoulders, kind of wake you up a bit because we have years, if not decades, of being in our own mental prisons because from the time we were kids, we were told by our masters, by authorities, what to do against our own needs and wills. I think that's a very accurate picture of the way this world is set up and the way we are grown up, and that's why we're held back, right? There's very strong, deep, personal, emotional reasons that go back to childhood traumas and stuff. Like I'm a big believer in that, in like psychology and all this stuff. And there's a bunch of other reasons and factors too, of course. But I just hope if there's one thing you can take away from this episode, and I will reiterate more and more on procrastination throughout the Mime Time series, throughout the show. But if there's one thing you can take away from this, whenever you feel yourself procrastinating, whenever you feel yourself delaying from what you need to do in life, this is what I say to myself. I don't need to do anything. Nobody is telling me how to live my life. Only I tell myself how to live my life. I don't have to do anything. I don't gotta do shit. I have to live with the consequences of whatever it is. I have to live with the consequences of not going to the dentist or not filing my taxes or not doing my own bookkeeping or accounting or paying rent or this and that. I have to pay with the consequences of that. But fundamentally, no one is holding me back but me. I have my physical freedom. I have my physical liberty. I can move around freely as I want, generally speaking. No one is holding me back in life but me. I am a free man or woman. I am a free person. I can live my life however I want. I have the freedom to choose. I'm free. I'm not a slave. I'm not a slave. I'm not a slave. I have freedom. I'm a free person. I can live my life however I want. No one can tell me what to do. Nobody can tell me what to do. I live my life. I am free. I am free. Nobody is holding me back but me. I am free. And I hope you take that to heart in your mind and your soul. And I hope that liberates you. Because life is short. We all want to make the most out of our short time on this plane of existence, on this planet. And I hope you got something out of this episode so that you can have the best time. Mime time. Thank you for listening. God bless.